Hi there, we're up at Rudding Park yet again, and today we've got a really exciting product review for you. This is the brand new Mizuno JPX919 irons. Okay, Mizuno JPX919 irons. It's quite obvious that these irons are following on from the JPX900, which were an absolutely fantastic range of irons from Mizuno, which came out a couple of years ago. You know, a real success story for Mizuno, these irons. They sort of catapulted Mizuno back, to sort of like where they should be, which is right at the, the sort of top of the iron market. So JPX919, again, we've got the three models that we had with the 900. We've got the Tour model, we've got the Forged model, and we've got the Hot Metal model. So just to touch back a little bit on the success of the JPX900. JPX900 Tour, that's the iron that Brooks Koepka has used to win 3 majors with, back-to-back US Opens, then more recently the PGA Championship. We've seen non-contracted tour players use the JPX900 Tour, like Ross Fisher used it to shoot a course record at St Andrews, and we've also had other tour players like Eddie Pepperell, for example, Robert Rock, players like that favouring the JPX900 Tour. So it was a really successful product for Mizuno because it was the first product really that they'd been able to of the JPX range to actually get into a lot of tour players' hands and have success with it. We've got a really interesting story about Brooks Koepka's JPX900 Tour irons because he was actually the person they had in mind when they designed them. So not only did he go on to use them, he went on to use them and win 3 major championships with. So that was the JPX900, now replaced by the JPX919. And then we've got the JPX919 Forged, and just to touch a little bit on the JPX900 Forged, that was Mizuno's best ever selling forged iron. So again, a real success story because it was a good blend between sort of distance, forgiveness, and still stunning looks and feel. So now that's been replaced by the 919. And then we've got the 919 Hot Metal, and again, I don't want to live in the past, but just to touch on the JPX900 Hot Metal, that was Mizuno's best ever selling iron. So 3 hugely successful products there for Mizuno, and you must have been, Mizuno must have been tempted to think, what can we actually do to improve these clubs? These are absolutely fantastic. To realise how golf companies make money, they need to create buzz, they need to launch new products, stuff needs to be new. Mizuno don't want to be going into a new year just saying, JPX900 irons are still really, really good. They want to talk about something new, and obviously that new product is the JPX919. So what have they done to make the JPX919 better than the JPX900? Now that was a real tall order for Mizuno, but they're pretty confident that they have done that. So just from a first impressions point of view, from the Tour, the Forged and the Hot Metal, I think they have improved the aesthetics. I think they all look just that little bit more classy, that little bit more stylish, and because the performance was so good of the JPX900, these are the things that they had to really focus on, just getting the looks and the profiles and the offsets and all the lines just absolutely spot on. And I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job. A lot of inspiration that they've took from from things like the car industry, and what we've got here with these 3 models, we've got similar sort of design philosophies running through the 3 models. We see these sort of straight lines that we've got here, we can see the sort of the badge that we've got here. It all just looks a little bit more classy, a little bit more sophisticated, if you like. So from a looks point of view, they've done a really fantastic job there. Okay, what about from a technology point of view then? Again, this I think was a real challenge for Mizuno's R&D team to work into some technology into these clubs that was going to make them better than the JPX900. So just starting on with the Tour model, this is the simplest of the 3 clubs, if you like, because it is a sort of more of a clean bladed style of club. And there's not a huge amount that you can do to improve the technology on a club like this. But what Mizuno say they've adopted in the JPX919 Tour, it's the same high definition grain flow forging process that they've used in their latest MP18 irons, and that's just all about crushing the grains in, tightly packing those grains in during the forge process. And what that does, it actually gives a much nicer sound and feel. So I think that players are really going to appreciate the improved sound and feel on the JPX919. They've actually made the proportions of the club slightly more compact than the 900 version, just tightly packing it in so it's a slightly more compact shape. But they actually say that the technology that they've got around the perimeter of the club, it actually makes it more stable than the JPX900 Tour. So you've got better sound and feel, slightly smaller, compact look, which the best players in the world, the tour players, are actually craving. But they've got this stability around the perimeter, which means it's playable for handicap golfers as well. So that's the 919 Tour. Then with the 919 forged, again, we've just they've used that high definition forging process just to improve that sound and feel. Again, they've got the perimeter sort of weighting there just to give it that little bit of added stability. And once again, what we see here from Mizuno is the use of their boron technology. So they've actually got the sort of boron infused within the steel, which just, it's boron, because it's such a dense material, they can use small amounts of it and they can pack it in there, and what it actually does, it just adds that little bit of extra ball speed, because they've just been able to pack a little bit more strength in there into the material. So I think what you're going to expect from the forge compared to the 900 again is just that slightly improved feel, but the ball speed's still going to be fantastic. So this club really sits in the middle of the two in terms of, still having a nice sort of like look, sound and feel, but also still having that fantastic ball speed. And then with the 919 Hot Metal, we again have seen Mizuno use this chromoly material, which is a very sort of malleable material. It's very easy to use and to bend, and what it allows them to do is it allows us to kind of tweak the lofts and things like that for the custom fitting process a lot more easier. But the thing about the Hot Metal, what was fantastic with the 900 range, was they were just absolute rocket launchers. They went absolutely miles. So Mizuno wanted to build on that for the new 919 Hot Metal, but they didn't want to make these irons unplayable by just firing out these sort of like low bullets that look great on a launch monitor but didn't really work on the golf course. The way they've actually designed these clubs with this sort of CG placement, they're saying that they're still going to launch the ball really nice and high, so you're going to get that fantastic ball speed, fantastic distance, but it's all going to come at a playable trajectory. And another thing is we've got the same finish pretty much on all these clubs. Well, we've kind of got slightly different sort of like metals on the Hot Metal, but the actual sort of the main finish, which you can see running across the top, this is this really nice pearl finish, which looks really, really classy. And I think something that you should be able to do, through the custom fitting process, Mizuno do a fantastic custom fitting process using their swing DNA system, which really gets the right shaft dialed in for your swing. And I think what we probably should see more of is players getting fitted into a mix of these different clubs. Yes, there's different, sort of like lofts and offsets, but Mizuno can tweak all these so you can still get a set that flows nicely. So yeah, I think that's a real positive of this range, is to be able to mix and match this set together in the same way that you could with their MP18 iron. Okay, so that was a lot to get through there in terms of the technology and the thought process behind these clubs, and I'm sorry for delaying it so long, but it is important. But so let's get down to business, the important side of how these irons perform, and which, if I was going through the custom fitting process, which I will do and we'll bring that to you in another video, which of these three irons was working best for me. So we had launch monitor set up, SkyTrack launch monitor, hit loads of shots with each one just to kind of notice what the performance differences were between the three. So I'm going to do this the other way around now. Starting with the JPX900 Hot Metal. Now, out of the three, this is clearly the distance iron. As you can see from the numbers there, we've got more ball speed. We've got a greater carry number. So for me, for a 7 iron, I'm getting carry numbers of around 160 yards, and that's really, really good for me. I know that's up there with the sort of best irons that I've tested over the last 12 months or so. It's a good ball speed, sort of 110 to sort of 113 miles an hour. I don't think I've tested anything that outperforming that. Like I say, carry 160 yards. Spin was quite low, which you kind of expect from these sort of stronger lofted sort of irons, strong lofted 7 iron. But what I did find was that they were launching really, really high. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing, because what Mizuno were saying about this club is it's going to go miles, but it's going to fly high, so it's landing steep and it's playable. So that it's just a trade-off really. For me, I just feel like it's a little bit too high playing into the wind. With the forged, again, a real solid performance for me. Good ball speed, not quite as much ball speed as the Hot Metal, but good ball speed, solid ball speed, consistency, and a little bit more spin, which probably going to grip on the greens a little bit more for me. So I probably would be leaning more towards the JPX919 forged, at least in the 7 iron anyway, because it's hitting the numbers of which I want it to, sort of 150 to 155 yards of carry. Launching a little bit lower, which is quite important for me, like launching a good couple of degrees lower than the Hot Metal. So it's just it just seems like it might be a little bit more of a consistent performer for me, the forged model. And then with the Tour, absolutely fantastic sound and feel, really good fun to play with. Again, just seeing a little bit less ball speed, a little bit less carry, which is totally understandable with the the weaker lofts, much weaker lofts, a good, sort of 2 or 3 degrees weaker on this than it is with these two. But the distance not dropping behind massively, so more like a 145 carry rather than a 150 to 155. So not a huge sacrifice from a distance and ball speed point of view if I was to use the JPX919 Tour. But like I said, I've been hitting 7 irons here with all these three, and I think the real difference comes with these clubs when it comes into your longer irons. And just to see if you can, just see on the images that we're showing on the screen there, just look at the 4 iron. I know which 4 iron I'd be happy to hit out of these, and it's definitely the Hot Metal. But if it comes to the 7 iron, I'd probably be going, more for the Forge model or even the Tour. So it's really, really important for you when you go through that custom fitting process that you hit every iron in the set to make sure that you can hit them all, because there's no point me saying, yeah, I can hit that on the 7 iron of the 919 Tour, getting to the 4 iron, putting it down and just saying, no way, can't use it. And when I put these 3 4 irons down, it's definitely the Hot Metal, which would be the one that I would use if I was going out on the course. So I don't know exactly where I'd go for a custom fitting process, but I'd definitely be thinking Tour or Forged in the short irons, and then moving up into the Hot Metal. I could easily see me having one of each in the bag, because they look fantastic, they feel fantastic, and I'm really impressed with the performance as well. So massive thumbs up overall for me with these clubs. Like I say, if you've got JPX 909s in the bag, you might have had them for a couple of years, they might just be a little bit worn out. I'm not saying that the performance of these clubs is massively better, that they're longer or going to do massively different things, but they do look nicer. They've tweaked a few little things, they've refined the technology to definitely have improved on a product that was absolutely fantastic. A product range, probably Mizuno's best product range ever, and I do feel like they've made it better, and that's exciting to me. It should be exciting to you. So if you're in the market for a new set of irons in 2018, 2019, you simply have to go and get fitted, at least book yourself in for a fitting to see how the JPX 919 irons perform for you. So loads to get through there, but I love talking about Mizuno irons. They are absolutely fantastic, but we want to hear from you, so post us some comments below on what your thoughts are on these clubs. If you wanted more information about the specs, the lofts, the shaft options, loads of premium no upcharge shafts here with this range, which is another massive plus. So post your comments below if you've got any more details that you want. We'd be really interested to hear from you what your initial thoughts are on these irons and whether or not you're going to be giving them a go. So I'm definitely going to be giving them another hit to find out which ones work best for me in a real life golfing situation. But in the meantime, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.